Okay, so this video is just some supplemental notes, some things I'd like to point out that I didn't cover in the other videos in the review. Let's get right to it. One feature the 2X has that previous models do not have is a voice guidance feature. If you look at the top panel in the lower left, there are some slots and there's a speaker there. As you work through the menus or as certain things come up, the machine will talk to you to help you guide you through. I'll now play you some sample audio of the voice guidance feature.
Do not touch the bed or the output until the bed has cooled down. Be careful when you press the cancel button and remove the printed object because the bed is hot. Please set the open material mode. Do you want to load the filament? Filament loading starts. Cartridge when unloading is complete. Please cut off the edge of the filament sharply. Open the front hatch and remove the cartridge. If the cartridge has not been removed, press unlock for removal. Filament loading is complete. Filament unloading starts. Please make sure that the filament is loaded. Please set the printer's voice, volume, and speed. Select nozzle to clean. Printing is completed.
My next comment has to do with dual color or dual material printing. Always use a prime pillar as seen in the back here. It allows the nozzles to clean off in between printing and gives you a much cleaner and nicer print. Always remember to do a 5 to 7 minute nozzle cleaning from the menu using PLA material after you've run another material. For example, if you've printed with flexible, you need to flush the nozzle afterwards with PLA to clean it out. Here's an example of a complication I've seen trying to run flexible filament. It'll jam up trying to retract it back into the cartridge, or it possibly will jam in the extruder mechanism itself. So with this, I want to take this time to remind people that the average Joe might not be able to just download something from Thingiverse and print it exactly as he expects. These are enthusiast level machines. There's cost, complexity. The entire 3D printing hobby requires an understanding. These are materials that are affected by temperature, humidity, forces, gravity. It's a complex environment. There will be tinkering and adjusting to be successful. I want to point out something to be cautious of. My particular unit had a problem with a wire being pinched between the back panel and the chassis. Here it's shown fixed. This pinched and shorted wire apparently caused a 462 error on the display, so if you see that, make sure there's no wires pinched and have them repaired accordingly. Now I want to talk about bed leveling a little bit here. They have assisted bed leveling, which is automatically built into the menu. You can go ahead and do that and it'll get you close. It'll work pretty well. It touches the 3 spots that I have marked here on the bed, more or less. There's these little metal plates back here in the back. It can touch back here, the front left and the front right. Understand that sometimes the machine will tell you adjust the Z-gap or adjust your bed leveling. Be suspicious of that if you're getting a nice bead on the first layer. If everything looks good, take some caution if it's looking good because it's assisted bed leveling. It's not perfect. Now, we came up with this concept of doing a manual bed leveling, and this concept seems to work for me. I've done it on all my previous 3DWOX machines, and they're putting down a real nice first layer. So understand, first of all, that the back is sort of adjusted by the Z-gap on the menu, and these front, left and right, are adjusted by the knobs. If you turn the knob from underneath clockwise, it will tighten or pull the bed down, making the gap larger between the nozzle and the bed. If you run counterclockwise, it will allow the bed to go up and make the gap tighter or smaller between the nozzle and the bed. You create these 20 millimeter diameter by 1 millimeter high circles, and you print one back here in the back center, and then pop it off the bed and measure it with your calipers. Now, it should be very close to 1.0 millimeters high. If it's not, make the adjustments with the Z gap. Set the Z gap in the menu. That's the back, because it can only go up and down in the back here. That's the only adjustment you can do. I understand they're all related in this triangle because of the way it's set up. I mean, back here it touches, and back here you have an adjustment, and up here you have an adjustment. Try to get that pretty close, and then you can start adjusting these knobs up here on the next iteration. So run it again, and then measure this one, pop it off, and make the knob adjustment. But realize this plane between here, this it's like a triangle. So when you adjust this one, it's going to adjust all of them a little bit. I mean, they're all kind of interrelated. So you just keep doing this process over and over, iterating. And once you get that set as close as you can, I mean, we've got it within 0.05, 0.02, and that has now put down a great first layer for me. And I'd never be able to get that close if I was just setting the Z gap with a business card and using their knobs. Because this is a manual intervention. It's actually what comes off after you print it, after it squishes it down. This is the height of your first layer, and you're doing an iterative process, putting feedback into the loop and figuring out what actually is going to happen when you turn these knobs. And last, I want to talk about technical support. Now, it's true, Sindoh doesn't have effective phone support, but they have very good online and email support. Log in, create an account, state your problem, attach some photos or some video if necessary, and they will review it and get back to you within a reasonable amount of time. Now, understand that I believe their technical support is in Seoul, South Korea. I'm on the East Coast. This time of year, there's something like 13 hours ahead. So I get my best response sometimes if I send the message in at 9 or 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern time, because it's during the business day where they are. If you send your message in the morning, it's already night there. It's going to be some time before you get a response.